5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
This is the Culture Clash.
Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Welcome, everybody, to the latest episode of Culture Clash Live here on the Fandom Podcast Network. Hope everybody's had a great week, had a good Valentine's Day, whether you spent it with a loved one or just some friends and had a great time. We did a little something special on Valentine's Day here at the Fandom Podcast Network, which we'll be talking about in a little bit. But tonight, we got a new episode of Culture Clash, and in this week's episode of Culture Clash, we are going to be adding a new chapter to the Culture Clash Guide of Time Travel because we're putting the time travel spotlight on the 2003 film Timeline. It's the year of time travel here at the Culture Clash, and you know what? We're going to have a ton of fun, but I need to travel time with friends. I need people who have my back. Maybe somebody who knows some archery, somebody who knows some sword fighting. A guy I know who's been through some sword experiences, shall we say. I feel good with him at my back. He is the co-founder of the Fandom Podcast Network and my brother for another mother, Mr. Kevin Reitzel.
What's going on? Yes, we're talking a little bit of Timeline with our spotlight on time travel this week, and I'm excited about that, man. It was fun to revisit this film, definitely, and I got you back. I got archery.
I was going to say you've done the Adrian Paul sword experience, so you know.
Yes, a few times, not quite as much as my friend Priscilla, who's probably reaching 100 now, but yeah, definitely have done sword experiences and had some fun with that. So yeah.
But you know what, guys? I need more than just Kevin. I need somebody who has knowledge of the situation. I need somebody who has not just boundless knowledge. And there's only one person I can think of that gets me that kind of just boundless knowledge, especially when it comes to movies of any kind. She is, of course, the queen of movie foo, the one and only Lacey Adderholt.
Hello. How you guys doing?
We are doing well.
Good to have you.
Are you ready to get a little medieval in this episode?
Oh, I cannot wait.
A little shout out to Kenny and lurkers in the chat. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, guys. Always glad to have you join us. Of course, guys, as I was saying, this is Culture Clash live on the Fandom Podcast Network YouTube channel, or if you're watching on Facebook or Twitter or any of the other places we broadcast to when we do go live, we greatly appreciate it. But before we get started, I must take a little liberty. If you have watched Culture Clash or any of the shows on the Fandom Podcast Network, going back even to the days when we had our football show, The End Zone, you know I am a Kansas City Chiefs fan. And it was a very interesting week for Kansas City, starting off very well as my beloved Kansas City Chiefs won back-to-back Super Bowls, their third Super Bowl in 5 years. Kevin, I know this has been hard for you, but I appreciate the respect you've shown and the congratulations.
I know how important this is to you and your dad too, and I respect that. So I'm glad you get to share this with your dad.
And I know how important it was to Taylor Swift, so I'm like, I was in.
Adam's in the chat. What's up, Adam?
What's up, Mr. Mullet? We're always glad to have you from down under. The other thing is too, and this is important to me. I just need to give a shout out to all the amazing people in Kansas City who went through something terrible at the end of the Super Bowl parade. And I'm not going to justify the actions by talking about them, but I just want to say that the first responders, the people of Kansas City, we're all thinking of you, and we know that you're not going to let this event, what happened, tear down the amazing things that the Chiefs have done and how great the city of Kansas City is. Our thoughts and prayers are with everybody in Kansas City, especially those who were injured and in the hospital recovering. But I just wanted to get that out there and share the love and give my Chiefs a little love while we have the chance. But guys, it is time to dive into this episode of Culture Clash. Of course, it is the time travel spotlight Timeline, based off the classic Michael Chrichton book, which we will be talking about more. But this is Culture Clash, which means we're going to be having a lot of other things to talking about, including some fandom news, some fandom reviews, all kinds of great things. But before we get into that, Kevin, we have some things coming that are coming soon and just arrived here on the Fandom Podcast Network. So let's preview a few of those things, starting off with Your Love, the Hair Metal Podcast.
Yeah, we had a really good, fun January episode last month, and it was a lot of fun. A great idea where we did our 1989 hair metal supergroup draft. In a way, this was a time travel journey for us because we did this draft as if we were living in 1989 and picking our cream of the crop of the rock stars that were popular during this time, especially on MTV. And we built our supergroups, and that was a lot of fun.
Yes, it was.
So it was basically a 1989 hair metal traveling Wilburys.
Yes.
Okay, that's right.
Basically, yeah.
Right way to put it. Yeah.
There we go.
Yep.
Of course, too, we have Lacey here, which means we're talking Time Warp. And this year it is all about the movies of 1984, the 40th anniversary of those. Of course, part 1 went out about a month ago now. January was a light month, Kevin, but we had some interesting TV to talk about for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And so make sure you check that out. But the Time Warp is now monthly, guys. We cover each month, and that is a lot of fun. And we got coming out in March, which is exciting next month. It's so funny. I was putting together my DVDs here. The stuff we're going to be covering in March. Look at that right there. Look at that. Yeah.
Nice.
There we go. There we go. Exciting. But
is that Sahara with Brooke Shields? Yes, it is.
You had me at Brooke Shields. But guys, just released this morning, part 2 of Time Warp covering February, and things we get our groove on, we get our dance on because it's Footloose month in February of 1984. A few other fun things, Remington Steele. Kevin always likes to blame it on Rio, though.
Yeah, that was a good movie. Shout out to Chris, Ghostbusters Quick Response Unit. I'm sure he's excited about a movie coming out.
And of course, Couch Potato Theater. Kevin, you got a few people together and did some Payback.
Yeah, Lacey and Lee and I did a tribute to Payback, and we discussed both the theatrical and director's cut. It was a great conversation. A lot of fun. Good movie, too. My favorite Mel Gibson film.
And of course, this week, live on our YouTube channel, where you can go see that, the audio of that, this particular show will be coming out soon. But we had a little Valentine's Day love with one of my favorite romantic comedies. Turns out it's one of Kevin's favorite romantic comedies, and it was a great revisit also for Lacey. The Paul Bettany, Kirsten Dunst rom-com tennis match, Wimbledon. Guys, we had a lot of fun with this one, and this is one of those movies we talk about it on here. It's why you go to the movies. You just go to it. You sit back, you smile, and you enjoy for a little under 2 hours. Plus, Christine.
Yeah, we had a good conversation. I know, Lacey, you enjoyed that film.
Right on.
Adam O'Brien says, stay tuned for McBain, 47 Ronin, Speed, Black Dog, and Chain Reaction on the Lethal Mullet. Awesome.
Okay, what is Black Dog? Is that the one about the trucker?
Yeah.
Patrick Swayze.
Yeah, and Meatloaf, if I remember correctly.
Keanu Reeves isn't in that, though, right?
No, he's in Chain Reaction and in 47 Ronin.
And Speed. Like, he was in all three of that. I was sitting there going, Black Dog. Keanu Reeves was, what? It was because all of the other ones were Keanu Reeves, and I was like, what?
Her movie foo math is kicking in. A project I have been working on for a while, and hopefully we'll be recording here very soon. I have Couch Potato Theater, but because of everything that has been amazing with Godzilla -1, what's going on in the MonsterVerse, we have Godzilla and Kong coming out soon. But we're going to do a rematch and revisit one of our favorite films of this genre, Pacific Rim. Kevin, you think we can prevent the apocalypse this time?
I don't know. We'll see. We'll definitely give it the an A for effort. That's what we'll do.
I promise. So, however, on this podcast, we will have color. We won't be minus color.
That would be fun though to do in black.
Although that would be kind of cool.
and Kevin, we got a little crossover, crossing the streams action here happening with Couch Potato Theater and Hair Metal.
Yeah, one of my favorite movies, especially from the 2001 era, there is Rockstar, based on a true story, starring Mark Wahlberg, fan who becomes a rock star of his favorite hair metal era band. And we're going to be doing a crossover. We're going to be doing Couch Potato Theater, and then we're going to discuss the soundtrack, which is stacked with hair metal era guitarists and bass players and singers, and has an awesome soundtrack. Looking forward to that.
Yes, I'm going to be part of that with the Couch Potato Theater. All I know is hopefully I'll make it through the whole podcast without having to go take a piss. Just saying. But guys, we are here with the latest episode of Culture Clash, and we are doing our time travel spotlight. But before we get to that, we've told you what's happening on the network, but let's talk about the things that are going to be happening here on this episode of Culture Clash. And first and foremost, there's always fandom news to talk about. So, ladies and gentlemen,
Let's news.
Kyle, I'd like to jump in on something real quick here before we get on the news. You know how we recently lost Carl Weathers?
yes,
And I've been trying to catch up on some of his film work, the stuff that I haven't seen yet. And of course, he's more famous probably, of course, for Rocky series and Predator and Action Jackson. And of course, Happy Gilmore. But I just got from eBay because I've been meaning to check it out. And I remember Andy Sloan reminded me about this, and I mentioned this prior, but I picked up the entire 2 seasons, entire series of Street Justice. Went from 91 through 92 or 93. And I even found season 1 completely sealed. Season 2, they brought in Mark McCormick from Will and Grace. He also was in an episode of Highlander or 2 as well, because both of the series here and Highlander are filmed in the Vancouver area. So I've been meaning to check this out, and I just wanted to give it a little shout out there.
absolutely. That was. I remember that series. It was, I believe, it was in syndication when I saw it, and yeah,
Produced by
it was
Stephen J. Cannell from 21 Jump Street, and Wise Guy, and a bunch of those ones from the when everyone was kind of filming in Vancouver in the 80s and 90s. So yeah.
Well, guys, let's get into some news, and we had some big MCU news, though I don't know how big it was because it was pretty much what we had guessed. The casting for Fantastic Four has been announced. They announced it on Valentine's Day with this cute little tweet here. We have Pedro Pascal playing Reed Richards, Vanessa Kirby playing Sue Storm, Eben Moss Bacharach playing The Thing, and Joseph Quinn of Stranger Things fame playing
Eddie Munson, baby.
they playing the Human Torch. Now, guys, Fantastic Four is I think it's kind of a big movie for Marvel at this point. They really need to kind of nail this one down. What are you guys thinking? I have thoughts on which I'll get to, but Kevin, what are you thinking of this casting?
I'm fine with it perfectly. I like of course, Pedro, I'm a fan of. I think he'll dive right into the Reed role. I'm a huge fan of Vanessa Kirby, and I feel like, I think it was Hobbs and Shaw where I really, really noticed her. And then she started doing a podcast about spies. I'm forgetting the name of it, but it started with Haley Atwell kind of narrating the stories of the real action of spies throughout, history. And then Vanessa Kirby came on. I think she's still doing it. But I'm a big fan of hers. I've been trying to catch up on some of her other stuff. And I like the fact that our boy Eddie Munson from Stranger Things, Joseph Quinn, is coming in there. And Ebon Moss Baccarat, maybe his name will become something that we will remember. But lately, I just remember him as the guy that tried to turn on Andor in the Andor series. He was in the Andor series, and he's been in a bunch of others. He's played some bad guys and some sleazy guys because he's got that kind of schmarmy look about him. But I'm very curious, and I think this is a good cast. I'm not disappointed with it.
Didn't he just win the Golden Globe for Best Supporting for The Bear?
Yes, he did.
I will don't know. I haven't seen The Bear.
Yeah, he
Neither
did.
have I know that I saw it and I was like, oh wow, I really need to I need to watch that show because everybody on that show won their awards this year. I was like, okay, maybe I need to catch up.
Shout out to Caleb, who says, can't wait for this. Pedro Pascal is a wild card, but not particularly a bad choice. The other 3 actors feel very much like perfect casting.
I will say,
I want to Lindsay, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I did love Krasinski, just in that little one little moment we had. If they were going to,
in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, yeah.
But I think that this is a great cast. I think that everybody in there is very talented, and there's a reason casting directors are going to have their own category this year.
I know some people are kind of split on Pedro, as Chris says here. I'm not on Pedro being Reed Richards, but I'm looking forward to him proving me wrong. I felt like Pedro's kind of like the easy casting, but we all like him. I'm just like, is he gonna have a child he has to protect in this one? I don't know.
Well, a lot of people have been talking about Pedro Pascal because he's been in so many huge, franchises at this point, and so everybody wanted to put him in the MCU, but there have been like 40 different options where everybody's like, "Oh, he should be this character, he should be that character," and
Yeah.
I never saw anyone suggest he should be Reed Richards, which is kind of against the casting that everyone else has been thinking about. So
let me hit on this because I agree. I think for the most part they nailed the casting. I think Pedro is a wild card. I don't see Pedro as Reed Richards, and again, he could prove me wrong. And I'm gonna be honest here, and Lacey, you kind of brought up the point. I'm feeling like we could be on the edge of a little Pedro burnout because he's everywhere, and we all love him. He's great.
I'm not there yet, Kyle. Sorry.
I'm just, but I can kind of see, and I think there were a lot of people who are questioning his casting as Reed Richards because he's not what you picture of Reed Richards when you see the Reed Richards from the comics. I'm not saying it's a bad casting, but I think it is. This is probably kind of one that's got people going, I don't know, but I love Vanessa Kirby. Of course, you're talking about her spy podcast. Of course, she's got a little spy action in her own self, being in the Mission Impossible films.
Yep.
And I love Joseph Quinn for Johnny Storm. I think he's going to bring a great energy, and I think Evan Moss-Bachrach is brilliant casting for Ben Grimm. I think he's going to nail that very well. I know Caleb here is very happy with the casting. He says, also, I love that they finally cast a Jewish actor for Ben Grimm. I know the movies don't really show that side of the comics unless it's Daredevil and his Catholic, which is pretty true.
That's a good point. Yeah, good call, Caleb.
But this is going to be a big movie for Marvel. I'm excited to see what we see as the development goes.
If I remember correctly, Kyle, we've had reference to the Fantastic Four in WandaVision, right? About the 4 astronauts.
Yeah, a lot of people are speculating that was reference to the Fantastic Four, but they never really flat out said it.
You mean in WandaVision?
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. But that wasn't all for Marvel this week. It's been a big week for Marvel. Super Bowl Sunday, which is, of course, famous for dropping all kinds of movie trailers. Well, the big one dropped. The one we've all been waiting for. The Deadpool and Wolverine trailer dropped. Of course, Deadpool 3 officially now titled Deadpool and Wolverine. Kevin, this trailer was phenomenal. I am so looking forward to this.
I am the Marvel Jesus.
No, that would be me. I am the Marvel Jesus. And with one scene, Deadpool and Wolverine really makes Loki relevant.
Yes, it does. Yeah, we get the TVA, the time people. So yeah, definitely. Wait, go back, Kyle. Don't go into the trolling just yet. Hold on. I thought these posters were kind of cool. You get the Deadpool and Wolverine poster, and then you get the Come Together July 25th. But the best part about, even maybe more fun than the trailer, was the trolling that happened with the lead stars, whether they were with each other or against each other.
Yes. Well, of course we are talking about Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, which means they're great friends, but they love to troll the hell out of each other.
I love but I just stay on this slide real quick, because Ryan Reynolds goes, wait till you see the Deadpool popcorn bucket. And I don't know if you guys know, but this whole funny stuff about the Dune popcorn bucket has gotten so popular that if you go back and Google it and watch last week's episode of Saturday Night Live, they had a really funny skit about the Dune popcorn bucket. Check that out. And then Hugh Jackman says, best is a stretch, so is friends, regarding the 2 pendants that come together that say best friends. And there you go. There you go, Chris. Hugh Jackman fixed it. Wolverine an asshole.
Okay, guys, that wasn't the only trolling though that was going on, because I don't know if you saw what Ryan Reynolds posted when he posted about the Deadpool 3 trailer getting out. He's like, has anybody seen my wife? Of course, Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds' wife, is at the Super Bowl at that point with Taylor Swift in the suite. However, Blake Lively later that day when she got home posted a picture of her in front of the fireplace at their home with a picture of Deadpool on it. I had a great day, honey. What are you doing with your day?
I would like to say that she was actually at in the Taylor Swift's box with Miles Teller, who did play Reed Richards prior to.
Yes, the Marvel connections.
A little more connections
everywhere. Yep. But guys, we are talking about this. It's the Super Bowl, which means we are going to get a plethora of movie trailers, and we definitely did this go around. And starting off with a movie I am very much looking forward to because I love the first two films of A Quiet Place, and now we're getting a prequel, A Quiet Place Day One. And what I'm liking about what I saw in this trailer, Kevin, is we're seeing what happened in like major metropolitan cities where, yeah, they're kind of noisy.
Yeah, so I just watched this trailer for the first time about an hour ago, Kyle. Mm-hmm. I was a little disappointed that it doesn't have the two people that were in the last two. You know, it's like
evolved. They can still pop up.
Yeah, but they didn't show any of that. They showed completely new people, which I get. You want to see how it affects other people. But you're taking away a certain English girl away from us. Come on.
Right. But the thing about a trailer is you want to show people a little bit of the new when you know the other two are going to eventually be in it.
Do we?
I mean,
yeah. I think at least one of them will pop up in it. I'm feeling pretty confident about that. So
I don't know. I was kind of not excited about it. That's just my opinion.
And Caleb brings up a point, and I know I've heard about this too. We are getting a Quiet Place Part 3 in the next couple of years as well. So that is a franchise at this point. So next up, a movie I know Kevin won't be jumping to go see right away, but Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I'm a fan of these newer ape films. I've really enjoyed Andy Serkis's performances in them. I think he should have won an Oscar for at least one of them. I'm very fascinated by this because I think it's leading into like going back to the beginning of the original Planet of the Apes. I wonder if it's going to be this one, or maybe if they do one more where the ending will lead right into the original back in the day Planet of the Apes. But Lacey, what are your feelings on the Apes films?
I have never seen a Planet of the Apes film, not one of them. It's just I kept thinking, oh, maybe I will. And, Mark Wahlberg was in one, and David Hewlett was in one. And I was like, oh, that, I got to see it. And then I just never did. I just never did. And I've never seen any of the originals either. They just sort of didn't hit the mark for me to make a priority out of it. I don't know.
Kevin, somewhere Richard Wolosky just shed a tear. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the new apes. They don't wear clothes. So
sorry, Richard. Do I know Richard?
Richard Wolosky from Skywalking Through Neverland.
Nope, don't know.
Yeah, he's a huge apes fan and friend of the network, and he's inspiration for us doing podcasting. So yeah.
Oh, right on. Very cool.
Next up, we have coming out in November the adaptation of the incredibly popular musical of Wicked, and I'm not sure how I felt about this trailer. I'm really kind of wondering if the Wizard of Oz world works anymore. But yeah, this trailer didn't do too much for me. What about you guys?
The concept that they've split into two movies now, right? So
yeah, have they? This is part one.
Yeah, apparently there's two films now, and they're going to cut it right after Defying Gravity. I don't know if you've seen the play.
Nope.
There's not a lot happening in part two. It's kind of like it's a little slow till you.
How come this doesn't say part one on it then? That's where I'm confused.
I don't know. But yeah.
My whole thing with this is, why didn't you just cast Indina and be done with it?
Who?
Indina Menzel. She was famous for playing the witch on Broadway. So yeah. Anyway, this one's in because it's Twisters. I love Twister. This is in the same breath. And plus, Glenn Powell is like maybe the one of the hottest, most in demand actors in Hollywood right now, Kevin. I think that's a fairly safe assumption.
His stardom is on the rise, and I did want to mention that his rom-com with Sydney Sweeney was made for around $30 million, and it's now made over 170 to 180 million dollars. It is one of the for sure box office winners.
And they did a re-release for the day before, day of, and day after Valentine's Day. So those numbers might have changed in the last 2 days.
Yeah, that's true. But I'm looking forward to this. If nothing else, this is going to be a movie that's going to be a fun IMAX experience because it's going to be loud. It's going to have all of that epicness to it. So looking forward to that. Kevin, up next we have Monkey Man, the Dev Patel action film coming out. Very intrigued by this.
Yeah, I was reading the YouTube description, and obviously he has some martial arts fighting in this, and he uses it to get revenge. I'm not going to say it's a basic revenge action movie, but it is a revenge action movie. And he gets into some pretty big fighting here. And I guess his character takes on this persona as a monkey man while he's doing some underground fighting or boxing or whatever. But then he also does some vigilante work, especially when he gets back at people that killed either members of his family or does something like that. And in a very brutal way. But more cool though is that Dev actually directs the film. So yeah, I mean, I saw the trailer going, all right, Dev, this is cool.
And Jordan Peele is a producer on this as well.
There you go. Yeah.
I saw it in front of something, I guess Madam Web yesterday or something. I don't know. I saw it this past week and I was just like, yeah. I mean, I have no idea if this was based on a comic or if it's an original. I have no idea, but I was like,
it's actually based on a myth.
Okay. Well, 3 minutes in, and I was just like, okay, I'm here. Like, I'm in. This is gonna be awesome.
So, guys, that's gonna wrap up the Super Bowl films. But Kevin, it's award season, and we've always covered the Oscars, the Golden Globes, but I think it's time. And then you brought this up, and I completely agree with you. The Saturn Awards, the 51st annual Saturn Awards. But here's the thing. And I would say about the last.
Kyle, you're about to steal my thunder.
Oh, no. I was just going to say, I think it was a huge, great succession for you because I think in the last 15 years, these have become very important.
Yeah, guys, I'm going to throw this out at you right now. The Oscars and the Golden Globes suck. They have not been good since pretty much the 90s and the early 2000s. They don't cover a lot of the films and movies that we as nerds and geeks like. And now that the Saturn Awards are getting more clout, they're getting more attention to them, we're going to showcase what they actually award here. And I guarantee everyone in this panel and anyone watching and listening, they have probably watched more of these categories and these movies than what's actually being awarded for the Oscars and the Golden Globes. Because as of the ones that have been nominated for the Oscars, I might have seen 2. And I think that the Saturn Awards need to be given more love, more attention to, and be celebrated more. And Kyle, if you don't mind, I'd like to take over the slideshow here.
All yours.
Because I put this together here and I wanted to show you guys what's been nominated. And one thing that I did want to mention, guys, is that you're going to see some nominations that feel a little older than they should be. And there's a reason for that. The nomination announcements and award process was postponed in solidarity with the 2023 Hollywood labor disputes, which took place between May 2nd to November 9th. Ultimately, the nominees were revealed on December 6, 2023. The epic science fiction film Avatar: The Way of the Water led the film nominations with 12, 2 more than the original received in 2010, including Best Science Fiction, and 4 acting nominations, followed by Oppenheimer with 11. And this was, just so you know, the change in the number of the awards name was introduced at the previous ceremony, which was renamed the 47th Saturn Awards to the 50th Saturn Awards to celebrate 50 years of Saturn Awards, founded in 1972. This change was also implemented for the addition of the awards. The ceremony was held on February 4th, 2004 at the Los Angeles Marriott Burbank Airport Hotel. Now, guys, to tell you why we should pay more attention to this award series, I know you've heard about him. I remember first hearing about him, I think in the late 80s. You would see them on like Starlog magazine and maybe Fangoria, all these fan magazines. And you would kind of just see them in print somewhere. You wouldn't see them on television. and you're kind of like, okay, that's kind of cool. Well, these were actually streamed, and you could actually watch them. I was watching some of the highlights, and then I kind of started seeing like who was getting the attention and the love here. First of all, you got best superhero film, you got best science fiction film, best fantasy film, horror film, best action adventure film, best thriller film. So it covers a huge variety of films. Guardian of the Galaxy won for superhero film with Ant-Man, Black Panther, Blue Beetle, and The Flash that were nominated. Science fiction Avatar won with the creator Megan Prey and Transformers Rise of the Beast nominated. Best fantasy film, Indiana Jones Dial of Destiny, nominated. Yes, Kyle?
I was just going to say that was probably the one category I disagreed with the winner on.
Yeah, we can all disagree on these winners, but I don't want you guys to lose sight of the point here of what is actually being celebrated here. These are films that are, yes, there's a few of these, obviously the Oscars and Golden Globes, but these are basically the nerd awards, guys. Where these are the nerd and geeky awards that we need to pay attention to. Best horror film, Talk to Me, Barbarian, Evil Dead Rise, Insidious, Renfield, Scream, and Smile were nominated. Best action adventure, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, with Bullet Train, Equalizer 3, Fast X, John Wick Chapter 4, and The Woman King being nominated. Best thriller film, Oppenheimer, Don't Worry Darling, Glass Onion, Knives Out Mystery, Knock at the Cabin, The Lesson, and The Menu were nominated here. Some more categories here. Best animated film, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse won. Best international film, Sisu. See, I've seen these films, Kyle. Best film direction, James Cameron, Avatar, Way of the Water. Best film writing, Avatar, Way of the Water. Best actor in a film, Harrison Ford, Indiana Jones. And if you look back at everything that's nominated, I think we've seen most of these films as nerds and geeks. I'm just saying. Best supporting actor, we got Nicolas Cage in Renfield. Best supporting actress in a film, we got Emily Blunt in Oppenheimer. Best younger actor in a film, Zolo the guy from Blue Beetle and
Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai, yes. Best film editing, Oppenheimer. Best music, Indiana Jones. Best film production designer, Barbie. These are all things that should be celebrated. Best film costume, Barbie. Best makeup in a film, Covenant. Best film special, Avatar, Way of the Water. Best independent film, Pearl. So it goes on and on here. And best science fiction TV series, Star Trek Picard. Best fantasy TV series, Wednesday. Best horror television series, The Last of Us. Best action adventure thriller television series, Outlander. Best animated series or special, Star Wars. The Bad Batch won that one, guys. The Bad Batch. Best superhero television series, Superman and Lois. Best television presentation, Werewolf by Night. Best new genre television series, Andor. Star Wars won something, guys. It's great. And it just goes on and on here. And you know what else was celebrated, Kyle? What was my favorite movie last year?
Godzilla -1.
Nope. That was yours.
John Wick. I'm saying John Wick.
Renfield.
That's right,
Renfield was my
Renfield,
favorite
yeah.
movie last year, and that won something here. So I'm just saying, and also too, it gives you best 4K home media release for us physical media nerds. How cool is that? John Wick Chapter 4 won that one. Best classic film home media released, Invaders from Mars. And best film home media collection release, Superman 5 film collection. I mean, these are the things that we should pay attention to. And they also do special achievement awards. Life Career Award went to Jodie Foster. Visionary Award went to Christopher Nolan. George Powell Memorial Award went to Dave Filoni. Dave Filoni wins. How awesome is that? And the Lance Reddick Legacy won the Legacy Award, the late Lance Reddick, which was presented by Keanu Reeves at this event. Robert Forster Artist Award went to Seth MacFarlane. Dan Curtis Legacy Award went to the Walking Dead franchise. And the Lifetime Achievement Award, the cast of Star Trek The Next Generation, which they were all in attendance for. And then multiple wins, Avatar won, was it 4? Barbie, Indiana Jones, and Oppenheimer won 3. So, your thoughts, Kyle?
Well, I think it's definitely more of the awards for the people now, especially with how popular fandom has become and become part of the culture. So I think it gets a lot more. But I mean, I think the Saturn Awards have been highly respected for, like I said, the last probably 15 to 20 years, if not longer.
In a very small group of people But as fans as we are, though, and now with social media and the power to put things on video and to have a voice like this, these awards have not gotten the greater attention of everyone else, like the Oscars. More people care about the Oscars and awards now because of what people wear.
Yeah. No, I agree. I just want to comment Zillar here. I agree with you. I would have gone D&D. I don't know if Indiana Jones was disposable, but I would have gone D&D.
I agree with that. I would have gone with Dungeons and Dragons too. Right. Blair, of course, my buddy from Australia. Yay, physical media forever. I love it.
Well, guys, maybe
hold on. Lacey, your thoughts on that segment of the Saturn Awards? What do you think? And you're muted, by the way.
Hello. Okay. I hadn't really heard much about the Saturn Awards in the past couple of years. I just
see.
I've been my house has been I've been under construction for 4 years, so television was kind of sparse. So that's why I'm a big physical media person, is because I don't really see a lot of live television, especially over the last 4 years under construction. So I loved the fact that Will Wheaton was the one who posted about the award that they all got to go, and he was like, that was the first time since I was like 15 where I was included in being able to go and do the Saturn Awards and I was very excited for him. So I had just gone back probably last week and looked at all the different awards. I was like, wow, okay, so I've seen everything. That's so rare. I mean, it got to the point where, because I don't do drama, I don't want to see anybody die. I don't want to see anybody like bite their own arm off. I don't want to see anyone who's like oppressed in any way. I can't deal with people who are, I can't deal with that. I don't do that. So like 87% of the Oscar nominated movies are movies that I'm just not gonna watch.
Yeah. It's
not gonna.
Yeah, it's weird. It's gotten really weird lately too. And shout out to Zillar there. If there is more people that collect DVDs and Blu-rays, I am home. Well, there's two of us here in this. There's two of us here that have a bunch behind us, and my buddy Blair in Australia. I can't wait to see his when I visit.
Nice.
Guys, that's going to wrap up everything for the news, but don't worry. We got more Culture Clash to talk about here, guys. We're not done yet, because guess what? We've seen a few things. So once again, it is time to buy it, stream it, or unsee it. That is correct. It is time to buy it, stream it, or unsee it. Our review section. Either you really liked it, so you're going to go buy it. Maybe you was like, okay, if I want to watch it again, I'll stream it. Or, oh my gosh, can we just get the Men in Black Immortalizer and wipe it from my memory? Because I need to unsee this movie right now, if not sooner. Before we get started in the stuff we were going to talk about this week, Kevin, I actually did see a movie that you talked about a couple of weeks ago on Culture Clash. I just wanted to drop my thoughts real quick. I watched John Cena, Alison Brie film Freelance, and I really had fun with that. It was a fun movie.
Wait, which one was that one again?
One where protecting Alice is the bodyguard for Alison Brie. Christian Slater's in it.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
I thought you had talked about that a couple.
No, I haven't seen that one. It sounds fun though.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun. The guy who plays the president of the country steals the movie, but
it's called what again?
Freelance.
All right, I gotta check this out. You got me intrigued.
Is it the greatest film you're gonna see? No, but I have come to the realization with something with John Cena films. Kevin, I don't think I've never seen a John Cena film that wasn't fun.
This is true.
And of course, I love Alison Brie to death. And
he's from Community, right?
Yeah, I also did Glow on Netflix, the Women of Wrestling.
Yeah.
So very, very fun movie. I really enjoyed it for what it was. But guys, we're gonna get into a few things, and so that means spoiler alerts ahead. The stuff we're gonna be talking about, we are going to go into spoilers about. So guys, you have been warned. When you see a movie pop up, if you have not seen it yet, you might want to just tune out for just a couple of minutes while we talk about that film. But first up, guys, is a film. Well, first up, guys, Letterboxd, because we are all on Letterboxd. We keep track of our movies on Letterboxd. We are having a ton of fun with Letterboxd. Kevin, you kind of started this up last year with keep using Letterboxd to keep track of all the movies you watched. Was it over 500, or was it just right there?
No, it was at 408 films last year.
That's 408. So.
Yeah.
But we're having a lot of fun with Letterboxd. If you guys aren't using Letterboxd, definitely give it a
Right
shout.
now, I'm at 68 films as of the beginning of this year.
And we're not even, I think, like 40 days into the year. So that's. With that, guys, we're going to talk about a movie. We did a non-spoiler review last week, which was Argyle. Now, I'm fine with this because I'm going to try to go see it this weekend, but I'm fine with getting a little spoilery on this. Lacey, you and Kevin have seen this.
Lacey, I need to ask you a question about this, Lacey.
Sure. Wait.
Now,
Kyle, just go to the background.
I'm hold on.
This is non-spoiler. I need to ask your opinion about this. Should we give the twist away? Should we just leave it alone like everyone did with the Crying Game?
Let's talk about the whole thing with the exception of the stinger.
Okay. Well, hold on. I'm talking about the twist in the film. I don't know if we should spoil that twist.
Oh, well, I mean,
it's kind of still new out. A lot of people probably haven't had a chance to go see it yet.
All right, not for nothing, but I figured that out 20 minutes in.
Okay, fine. I'm stupid.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that, I don't feel like it's that much of a spoiler. I feel like I feel like it really sort of works for the.
Okay, well, we've given the spoiler warning. So if you
and there's one line in the trailer where I was like, oh well, okay, that's probably going to be a thing.
All right, why don't you start with us, Lacey? Then, yeah, your thoughts on Argyle.
Okay, I loved Argyle. I love again John Cena. Like as a small character, but just I'll watch anything that man does. He does so much good in the world. I just want to support him in everything. So it's John Cena and Henry Cavill, and I mean, there's just the cast is huge and it's fantastic. What do you want from me? Do you want me to give my thoughts, or do you want to do a plot synopsis?
Well, let's do this. I'll do the plot description and just mention the main players in this. So, a reclusive author who writes espionage novels about a secret agent and a global spy syndicate realizes the plot of her new book she's writing starts to mirror reality and world events in real time. Directed by Matthew Vaughn. Of course, from the
Kingsman.
The what series?
Kingsman.
The Kingsman series. Yes, the Kingsman series, and that's going to come up in a second here. Stars Henry Cavill, Dallas Bryce Howard, Sam Rockwell, and of course, we get Samuel Jackson in there, Dua Lipa, John Cena, of course, comes in there. Great cast, a lot of fun. But go ahead, Lacey.
I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. I think that so do we want to give away the?
Go for it. We are in a spoiler zone.
Just so you know, though, the trailer says, when you know the secret, don't let the cat out of the bag.
Right.
But if you want to go ahead and give the spoiler away, you go right ahead.
It really is hard to talk about the movie if you don't give the spoiler away.
All right.
I mean, because it happens pretty. Okay, so. Leading up to the spoiler, okay, you've got Bryce Dallas Howard. She's doing her thing, and she's like this quiet, kind of mousy, quiet person. And all of a sudden, she gets kidnapped, and they're saying that she predicted something, and then you've got people saying, we need to know what she knows because she's gonna figure out. We need her to write the next. Chapter so that we know what to do. Okay, well, that right there, immediately I was like, okay, well, so she obviously has amnesia. This is obviously like a Long Kiss Goodnight situation. Like it felt like Long Kiss Goodnight meets Lost City of D, or maybe Romancing the Stone kind of a thing. The mistaken identity kind of deal. It really did feel like. It felt like. Night and Day meets
right.
Long Kiss Goodnight.
The Tom Cruise Cameron Diaz film, yeah.
Right. And so basically, it turns out she was a spy, got knocked around a little bit, lost some memory, and now they don't know what's going on because she was on mission. So they put people in her life, they planted people in her life to try and bring out the information. You don't know who's good, you don't know who's bad, you don't know who's on whose side. There's a lot of kind of speculation, so we don't have to go into that. But it turns out that Argyle, being Henry Cavill and John Cena, are characters in her book. They represent characters in real life, the people in real life.
Right.
And so between the two of them, the love story mirrors Sam Rockwell and Bryce Dallas Howard, who are played by Henry Cavill and John Cena as like the counterparts inside her like mental universe. So it's really interesting to see. I won't give you any more than that. There's a ton of spoilers still to go.
Let me give my thoughts on it, and then we'll talk about the end stinger scene there. I thoroughly enjoyed this film. It was a lot of fun. Apparently Blair did not. He took a nap, which is fine. I thought it was a lot of fun. I love the location shoots. Shout out to Catherine O'Hara in this movie. I loved her in this film. I love seeing her in this style, in this role. Bryan Cranston as well, playing the bad guy. He was great. I also love Bryce Dallas Howard in this. It felt like she was just fun, and I liked her as the two different people. When you see what's happening when she awakens to the super spy background that she had, that was a lot of fun. Great chemistry with the cast, and Sam Rockwell. Give me some more Sam Rockwell any day, anytime, anywhere. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Rockwell is an unsung genius. That man.
Now, we need to talk about the end credit scene, and I want you to explain it.
Okay, the final scene, stinger. It's about halfway through mid credits, right? There's a young man that walks into a bar. Could it be a Kingsman bar? We don't know. He asks for, gosh, what was it?
Some drink.
Some drink. I can't remember. I'm not a drinker. So he asks for a drink, and then he asks the guy to, it's like something with a twist. And he's like, hold the vodka, hold the gin, hold the cranberry juice, hold the orange juice. Just give me the twist. And the guy turns around behind the bar, puts a case on the bar. He opens it up. It's a weapon. And the kid introduces himself as Argyle. So is he real? Is he is this in the past? Is this a prequel? Is this we don't know. There's so
Are we tying the movie Argyle into the
Kingsman?
other world? What?
Right? The Kingsman. So the
Kingsman, yes. Yeah.
Are the previous 3 Kingsman films part of the book series that Bryce Dallas Howard's character wrote in Argyle?
Are they all prequels, basically? You know?
No, it's not that. They could literally redo all of the Kingsman films using Bryce Dallas Howard and Sam Rockwell and Samuel Jackson. Yeah. But the thing is that everyone there are 2 crossovers, right? Because you've got Samuel L. Jackson and Sophie. I always blank on her last name.
Well, let's not give away any more, but let's wrap this up and give it our buy it, stream it, or unsee it. Where would you give this, Lacey?
Oh, I'm gonna stream it until I can buy it.
It's definitely a buy it for me. I'm getting this on physical media for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I thoroughly enjoy it. I'm looking forward to watching this again and seeing all the stuff that I missed, because a lot happens. Lot happens. So, yeah.
And if you love Matthew Vaughn, from Layer Cake all the way through to the most recent Kingsman film, his use of lighting and color and cuts just within, because they had to film every action scene twice, once with Henry Cavill and once with Sam Rockwell, because she's going in and out of consciousness, and she's seeing them and it was just the poor stunt coordinator, that guy, whoever that guy is.
Gotcha.
Ding dang.
So Kyle, are you going to see this movie?
I very intend to see this movie. I just I'm imagining, trying to get the time, but I know it's coming to Apple TV Plus soon. So, but I would like to try to see it in the theater while I can. But next up, guys, just hit this week, Madam Web, the latest in the Sony line of Spider-Man related films.
We're not going to give full-on spoilers on this because this is too new.
Fair.
Yeah. So
I enjoyed it. Lots of strong female characters. Several connections to the current Spider-Verse / MCU. And I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Okay, so I went in, I know nothing about this character. I don't know anything about the comics, anything, and personally, I don't care. I enjoyed the trailer, and so I was curious to go in, and I actually enjoyed it. And I put a little post on Facebook about it, and I got some comments on it. But one of the comments that I did want to respond to was, how would you compare this movie to Venom? And I said, well, why would you want to compare it to Venom? Why don't you compare it to Sleepless in Seattle? It was a weird question, but then I understood the reason why it was asked, because it's part of the Sony MCU verse, basically, which includes the 2 Venom films, Morbius, and this one. Am I missing another one? I can't remember.
Kraven the Hunter, which is coming out later this year.
Yeah.
Kraven the Hunter's out. Said, where would you rank this? And I said, well, I would rank I'm sorry.
Venom.
Venom 1, Madam Web 2, Venom the sequel, because it was underwhelming for me, and then I thought Morbius was terrible. So if you want it ranked there, but I just gonna say this right now, guys. Cool it on the hate on this film, and a lot of people are quoting like only a few reviews. And people are jumping all over that. And I know who you guys are. And I've seen the reviews. And Kyle, when you mentioned this earlier, oh, people are saying this is worse than Morbius. No, it is not. It is not worse than Morbius. Everyone has jumped on a few really loud reviews, basically slamming this film and saying that it's going to be a huge box office flop. Well, big surprise. A lot of movies are flopping right now, even Oscar winners, just so you know. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed the chemistry between the 4 girls. I really enjoyed the villain, and I think you did too, Lacey. We were kind of messaging back and forth about this.
Yeah, the villain in this one was really fun. I enjoyed seeing. Ooh, I don't know if I can say that. I enjoyed his attire, and that's all I can say. I liked seeing the bad guy wearing what he wore.
So, Caleb, I want to respond to Caleb here. See, Caleb, I don't have any reference to anything at all about Madam Web. This is my first experience here. So I don't care. I don't let what happened in the past make me judge what is going up here. I like to basically go in with an open mind and enjoy new interpretation, or for me, brand new interpretation of stuff. So that's my opinion on it. I liked it. I thought it was fun. I liked how it was kind of like it was ongoing. It wasn't like it done over like a couple of years. It was done mostly in one night, and how she's learning about her abilities. And I love the flashback to the kind of spidery people. I thought that was kind of cool. It made me want to learn more about them. I took it for what it was. I'm not saying it's a huge hit. I'm not saying it's the greatest movie ever, but let me tell you this. I've seen a lot of crappy movies, and this is not one. Just my personal opinion. As for buy it, stream it, and see it, I would say I actually would probably get this on physical media, but you know what? I'm just going to say stream it for now. Wait for stream it. You don't have to go to the movie to see it, but I did enjoy seeing it on the big screen.
So I will see this. I support all comic book movies. I'm not a fan so much of the storyline that they're trying to bring over with this, and so that's a comic side of me. But there's been some interesting things that are not helping this movie, and one of them is, and this has been confirmed. Even Dakota Johnson has said this: is that for her, this movie was not a good experience. The script was completely changed by the time they actually started filming. She was led to believe it was a true MCU film, and it's going to tie into like full-on Spider-Man. Tom Holland was going to show up. It was so bad, she fired her agent over getting her into this film. So these kind of stories don't come out and help this. And yes, there are negative reviews out there, but we are firm believers here at Fan Podcast. So see it for yourself, judge for yourself. That's if you like. It doesn't matter what other people say, as long as you You like it.
Don't feed off other bad things and then try and, throw gasoline on the fire, guys. Come on, we're better people than that. If you don't want to see it, don't see it. If you don't have anything nice to say about it and having not seen it, I don't want to hear your opinion.
Well, because it's not opinion. It's someone else's opinion.
Yeah, and it's like
because of someone else's. Because
what are you a lemur? Come on, see it for yourself. If you don't want to see it, then just say that. How simple is that? But don't crap on my social media and saying and going out of your way to say, oh yeah, this movie's gonna suck ass, it's gonna tank, blah blah blah, and throw some negativity on it like that. If you're gonna do that, I'm not even going to give you any interest in your opinion without you having to actually see it. If you didn't like it, that's fine, and you like it because you didn't like what they did to, like with Caleb. I respect what Caleb said. He didn't like it because of what the changes and they did because of what he had learned. I respect that, and I get you. You saw it. I respect that opinion.
Yeah.
But if you haven't seen it and you're going to shit on it, I ain't listening to you. Sorry.
Now I want to go back and watch the 90s show again. I think that's the one with Nicholas Hammond playing Spider-Man.
No. That's a 70s show. He's referring to the 1990s animated.
Who was in the 90s animated? Okay, never mind.
That's what he's referring
to. I'm assuming as a fan of that, they felt that they took better care of the character than what they felt that this movie delivered. But like I said, I'm just going on this movie. I liked it. It was a fun popcorn film. I enjoyed it, and I'm a fan of Dakota Johnson too. So,
and I like the special effects. I liked her abilities.
Yes, definitely. I like the fact that she wasn't like superhuman strength. Mm-hmm. She just basically had her mind and what she could do, and she was able to outsmart the villain with mind over strength. And I thought that was very, very cool, and I like the way that they did that. So
it gave kind of a Professor X feel, like he's
yeah.
Just
don't let Kevin fool you. Sydney Sweeney helped a lot too.
Oh yeah, and by the way, guys, hold off on the Sydney Sweeney. No, I'm serious, Kyle. I saw so many people making comments about Sydney Sweeney's 2 assets. I get it; she's attractive, but they don't flaunt that movie. So don't go thinking in there you're going to see her breast all over the place. You're not.
Which one is Sydney Sweeney?
The blonde one that was nerdy that people don't buy as she can be nerdy.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, they aren't trying to exploit her in this. And that's another thing that I liked about it, because I just saw the romantic comedy Anything But You, and they exploited her physique very well. She's a very pretty woman, but this one they did not. So,
but when you talk about the 3 girls, they were very much playing up the bookworm, the athlete, and the Catholic schoolgirl. And
this is true.
She was the Catholic schoolgirl. So of the 3, she's the one that did have the little plaid skirt and the knee socks.
Oh, that's because the school she went to.
Yeah. I'm just
okay. Moving on. Kevin, Lisa Frankenstein.
Has anyone seen this trailer? Has anyone seen this movie?
I've seen the trailer. I want to see the movie. I haven't seen it yet. I know it's in the same universe as Jennifer's Body.
Yes, and it takes place in 1989, which was thought was a fun idea of this film. And the thing that I liked about this film too is, when you see movies and TV series that take place in the 80s, but the 80s part of it feels forced on you with obvious 80s like cars or products, and stuff doesn't look like it really did in the 80s. Like that famous meme, different versions of like they show the 80s couch and room, and it's all like day glow and pretty, but really it was shag carpets and smelled like smoke, and there was plastic on the.
And it was one of 3 colors. It was either mustard yellow, or what, sunflower yellow, avocado green, or that harvest gold brownish color.
Well, I saw the trailer for this, and what sold me was that it was written by Diablo Cody, of course, who of Jennifer Body's fame, and she's got a certain way of writing her series. And this is called Lisa Frankenstein. If you can meet your perfect boyfriend, make him. And the plot goes: after suffering an unspeakable tragedy, Lisa finds herself at a new school her senior year in 1989, struggling to fit in despite her sister, because she comes from she's living with, I guess, a foster family now, so to speak. And Taffy, her sister Taffy, is the popular, of course, cheerleader girl. trying to get her to conform her to a more typical cheerleader vibe when a freak accident reanimates a corpse from an abandoned cemetery where she was spending time. She must keep his arrival a secret from her family and classmates, while all deciding how much she wants to help him and at what cost. Now, I found this fascinating, guys, and I thought this was really cool. Directed by Zelda Williams, the daughter of Robin Williams. Zelda is also an actress as well, starring Catherine Newton, Liza Soberano, Jenna Davis, and Carla Gugino as the stepmom, if I remember correctly. And Catherine Newton, guys, you may remember her as Cassie, the daughter of Ant-Man in the Quantumverse. And she's been in some other. She was in that movie Freaky, which I've been wanting to see, which is like with was it
Vince Vaughn?
Vince Vaughn.
Yeah, Vince Vaughn. The
horror version of Freaky Friday.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And so she's the main character in this, and it had a really good soundtrack, and there was some good shout outs to early 80s like styles, Walkmans, technology. And I did enjoy this film. It was a lot of fun. I would recommend. I'd see it in the theater. I would definitely buy it and definitely stream it. A lot of fun. And it definitely has that Diablo Cody wit in the script.
So we have definitely got some movies that we've talked about. But guys, it's time. It's time to get that time machine going. It's time to do a little bit of things. So without further it's time for some time travel here on the Culture Clash. Of course, like we started a couple of weeks ago with our Fandom Podcast Network Guide to Time Travel. We're doing some movie spotlights on time travel. Our first film, of course, was The Sound of Thunder, the Ed Burns kind of lost in time film, but we all thoroughly enjoyed that, and it had some very interesting time travel tropes in it, including the classic butterfly effect. But we have picked a new film to add a chapter to our guide of time travel, and this time travel spotlight falls on the 2003 adaptation of the great Michael Crichton book, and that movie is Timeline. Now, this was a time when anything Michael Crichton was hitting huge. Of course, he was coming off Jurassic Park. Of course, his fame with ER and all of his many books. I got the Timeline book on Christmas Day, and I read it on Christmas Day. It pulled me that in. It was an amazing story. I was so excited for this film when it came.
Wait, Kyle, can I ask you a question? When did it actually drop as a book? Movie came out in 2003. When was it a book?
I want to say it was 2 years before that, but I'm gonna hit my.
I guess any new book was being automatically formatted to a movie as soon as Michael Crichton was dropping it.
Yeah, well, in fact, Michael Crichton actually gave away the rights to this book for free to earn points on the end because he wanted the movie made so quickly. And we'll get into his thoughts.
Caleb said 1999. That's a quick turnaround.
Sounds right.
Yeah. Thanks, Caleb. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Caleb. So, guys, we have Timeline, and we're going to just kind of give you a little bit of the overview of Timeline, the synopsis. Timeline is a 2003 science fiction adventure film directed by Richard Donner and starring Paul Walker, Francis O'Connor, Gerard Butler, Billy Connolly, David Thewlis, and Anna Friel, based on Michael Crichton's 1999 novel of the same name. The screenplay concerns a team of present-day archaeologists and history students who are sent back in time to medieval France to rescue their professor from the middle of a battle. Now, guys, before we get into the time travel aspects of Timeline and some of the other things, I just want to ask real quick, what were your first impressions of this film when you saw it? Lacey, start with you on this.
There are more blue eyes in this movie than Elijah Wood in the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy. Like,
I did not say you were going to open up with that. I did not expect that.
Everyone has these piercing blue eyes. Neil McDonough and Paul Walker, and there's like everyone, and he does a lot of close-ups, right? Of just like right here, like the extreme close-up. So you get a lot of like just ice blue eyes. I love this movie. It's fantastic. I mean, first impression was, when can I see it again? I think I saw it several times in theaters.
Kevin?
I saw it later on video. I did not see this in the theater at the time. I don't know, probably DVD or something like that. But I remember not really realizing it was a Michael Crichton film until later. I was obviously a Paul Walker fan from the Fast and the Furious series, and he was kind of being touted as the lead star. And then it was also one of those too, when you would get Gerard Butler, in 300. This was one of those films that was kind of resurging, like, oh, do you remember him in Timeline? Do you remember him in this? Remember him in that? When Gerard was becoming a big thing. And I kind of giggled at one scene in the film where he goes to the French guy, no, I'm Scottish, but yeah, it was one of those, it just became a rewatchable on video until I ended up buying it on video.
I was really excited for this film. I was a huge fan of the book, and this film is a solid, good film. It's not the book. There's a lot of liberties they took, which became a thing with Michael Crichton. So if you really want the worst Michael Crichton,
so wait, hold on. What you're saying is you enjoyed the book, the source material, and then you enjoyed the movie, even though it was different.
Well, yeah, I think the book is, in this case, is the superior tale of the story, but the movie is solid. And if you ever want to go watch the worst adapted Michael Crichton film, go watch Congo. But no, Timeline I thought was very.
Wait, hold on, Lacey, you got a look on your face. What's going on?
I'm trying to remember if Congo is the one with Bruce.
The monkeys.
That's the one with
the monkeys.
But it's Bruce Campbell and Carrie Elways, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay.
Also in it.
One of the best Carrie Elways deaths. I'm just gonna say it. Congo. I mean, he's been killed a lot of fun ways, like crazy ways, Twister, all that kind. But he's got a fun death in that one. Sorry, just that's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this movie, as much as we say we liked it, didn't get that warm of a welcome on the critical response. On Rotten Tomatoes, the film has an approval rating of 13% based on reviews from 144 critics. The site's consensus states this incoherently plotted addition to the time travel genre looks and sounds cheesy. On Metacritic, the film has a score of 28% based on reviews from 32 critics, indicating generally unfavorable reviews. Audience surveyed by CinemaScore gave the film a grade C+ on a scale of A to F. So, yeah, this was not received big, and I do remember this movie was considered a bit of a bomb after it came out. I think there was a lot of higher expectations since, of course, but everybody had Jurassic Park expectations for anything Michael Crichton at this point. So,
well, I feel terrible because I went and saw it like 5 or 6 times, and I enjoyed it every time.
Lacey did her part.
So the budget, just so you know, for actual numbers here, the budget was $80 million, and it only grossed almost $44 million.
Well, like $84 of that was mine. So
okay.
Just saying, I tried, y'all. That's all I can do.
A little bit of quick trivia here because it ties into some of the time travel aspects of it. The Battle of Castleguard is not an actual historical event. However, the crew of the movie visited various European castles from around that time period, the late 1300s, to make the castles and towns look as realistic as possible. During the siege of the castle at La Roque, you can briefly see a full moon in the sky. April 4th, 1357 was indeed the night of a full moon. This is just a little casting couch thing. Pierce Brosnan turned down the role of Andre Merrick before Gerard Butler eventually signed on. Totally different movie if that happens.
Yeah, this is true. And also, too, Michael Crichton, as I think we alluded to earlier, did not like this movie at all. He was disappointed in this and kind of disowned it in his mind. Zlar said, "I gotta admit, Rotten Tomatoes is not as influential to me anymore, at least for the past 3 years." Yeah, you know what, Zlar? I started turning on Rotten Tomatoes 10 years ago. If people only pay attention to Rotten Tomatoes to decide whether or not to see a movie or not, you are missing out on life.
Well, I have one more piece of trivia, and this one's just for Lacey.
Okay.
In the DVD special extras, a young and inconspicuous John Cena can be seen before his big break as a pro wrestler.
Nice. Where was this? Tell me again. Say it again.
In the DVD special extras, a young and inconspicuous John Cena can be seen before his big break as a pro wrestler.
Okay, I'll have to pull that out. I have it on DVD as well, so that's cool. I'm
But
really confused how they would have put Pierce Brosnan in it, because they would have had to change either they would have had to have him speak with a Scottish accent, or because he's Irish, and back then Ireland wasn't fighting with, like there was the whole conversation where
He could have acted it.
Yeah. They just acted.
Mhm.
But let's talk about the actual cast real quick, because this is actually a really good cast. You got Paul Walker, Francis O'Connor, Gerard Butler, Billy Connolly, who I've always been a fan of. He was actually the guy who took Howard Hesseman's place on Head of the Class back in the day when Howard Hesseman left Head of the Class. David Thewlis, who's been in so much stuff. One of my favorite roles is his character from Kingdom of Heaven. Of course, Anna Friel, the great Neil McDonough, today to me still one of the most highly underrated actors out there. Plays a great good guy, but he plays a phenomenal bad guy.
Yes, he does. Dum Dugan. Most people know him now through the Marvel universe
or the DC universe, because he played Damien Dark.
Yeah, in Arrow,
in Arrow in CW. He has one of the best handshakes. He's got like a super firm handshake.
Also crossed paths with The Rock in the Walking Tall remake. Ethan Embry's in this. Michael Sheen is in this. Richard Donner actually did a little bit of this, and one of Donald Sutherland's sons, Rosef Sutherland, was in this as well. He played Francois. But guys, let's talk about the movie in general here.
Hold on. I got some comments on the cast here. We're still talking about cast here. I gotta talk about.
So give me some comment. What are your comments on the cast here?
Yeah, Frances O'Connor. You know where I first remember her from, Kyle? Let's see if I can test you on this.
Okay.
What movie would she have made an impact on me?
That's gonna be
You're looking up IMDb right now. I'm just
I am, because I'm not that familiar with her.
Bedazzled.
Oh, that's right. He was Brendan Fraser's love interest.
Yeah,
he was going after in Bedazzled.
Yeah, she was so cute in that, and that's where I first remember her.
I'm sorry, Elizabeth Hurley, and then I forget about anything else in Bedazzled.
Billy Connolly, of course, was great in the Boondock Saints. Love Billy Connolly, so funny. And David Thewlis is just a guy that's been in everything. I really love that guy. And I forgot how cute Anna Friel was as Lady Claire in this. And she met David Thewlis on this production. They became an item.
Yes, they did. What about you? See any comments on the cast?
Love the cast. I don't think anyone was casting correctly. I do think that we should subcredit Ethan Embry's goatee. Because it was there, and it was not taken prisoners. Like, it was there. It was having a moment.
That's good.
It's like, I'm not, there's no shade. Like, for real, like his facial hair was like significant. Because you're just not used to ever see. He's always this like fresh faced kid, and then you see him in this, and you're like, okay, he's got like a manly beard.
So
it was distracting.
Yeah. This is one of the more interesting time travel movies to me, because it really does start off in the current time dealing with the past. Of course, it is a team of archaeologists, students, and their professor, played by Billy Connolly. And of course, Paul Walker is Billy Connolly's character's son in this film. And they're dealing with what's kind of great is how it's setting up things as they're exploring this old tomb and everything at the Rock. And it really does set up some interesting things. But guys, I need to talk about how they do the time travel in this, because it's kind of ouchy.
I put some dialogue in there to kind of lay it out for us.
Yeah, I thank you for that. I saw that. So yeah, you look at that, and that just is not a warm, welcome feeling time travel device there. And
so,
go ahead, Kevin.
So the time travel method used, you had mentioned, Kyle, modern technology in a very painful way, as in bones and body parts not coming out right. Well, it is described between the character of Ethan Embry, Josh Stern, and Matt Craven's character, Stephen Kramer. Josh Stern says, he would need a quantum computer with millions of processors. And then Stephen Kramer says, you're right. We use them to build a machine that could fax 3-dimensional objects. And he goes on to say about how this would put UPS and all those servers, mail servers, out of business here. And then Josh goes, you accidentally discovered time travel? Steve Kramer says, no, we accidentally discovered a wormhole that seems to be locked into a single time and place in the past near Castlegard, France in the year 1357. So how do we feel about this version of time travel and how it was done?
Very creative, and I really like the concept, but yeah, they even tell them how painful the travel is going to be. So I don't know if I want any part of that. And we see at the beginning of the film, if you travel a little too many times through this time travel wormhole, it doesn't do a body good. Let's put it that way. It's not milk, Lacey.
I feel like the way they described it, it almost between how they described it and what it looked like, it almost looked like the fax version of teleporting from Star Trek. Like but the thing that I have an issue with is the fly kept coming to mind, because if you're transporting everyone and breaking them down into tiny pieces and then putting them back together, if you're all in the same spot at the same time, if you're all in the machine at once, why come nobody had like 3 arms and 2 faces? And
they had a little device.
I know, I get it. I know what they said, but I feel like that was very, very like shady science. Or well, I know this is more phi than psi. I get it. I'm not, but
we have to with time travel movies. We have to give in more to the phi than the psi and sci-fi. You know, you have to do that. You know, and they try their best to wrap a little bit of loose science around the phi. You know, so I get it.
Right.
But man, I like the fact though that it was a wormhole. Not necessarily a typical time travel, that you're going through a wormhole, so to speak. And I thought that was an interesting way for the time travel to be explained.
Okay, come on. Those are 2 people right now on screen that don't look like they are really wanting to be doing this. But it does lead them to back to that time in France, and this is where Gerard Butler shines in this movie as the Merrick character, who is the true historian. He is a romantic for this time frame. He actually meets his love interest in this time frame. I love Gerard Butler in this movie, guys, and he because he has such passion for the time frame and everything like that. It works so well.
I love the fact that he's passionate about history in the first place. And I love the fact that he gets involved with this woman that he knows of and the legend of, and they're talking about the legend of this woman and what happens to her before they know about any of the time travel, which is fascinating. And I love the fact that he actually meets her, and then things change a little bit, which is kind of cool. But I'm just gonna say, as a heterosexual guy, this guy looks hot in this film. This is one good-looking man right here. I tell you, Gerard, you go, bro.
So, we and of course, you know, this is where we kind of get into our next thing with time travel. What is the time travel trope in this, guys? And I want to see if you agree with me, because I think the time travel trope in this is trapped in time, because they do become trapped. The device there's an accident, the device is destroyed, they can't go back. So they are stuck, and they are trying to be oh so careful, one, to go rescue Billy Connolly's character, but also not to make changes in time. And it's definitely perilous for them, because of just, if they don't, outside of Merrick, none of them really are 100% comfortable in the situation they're in. And I actually think this was one of the best things I liked about this film, is how they played that up with them in that situation and how they're trying to deal with it.
Is it just, I feel like there's also the, you know, break it then fix it sort of scenario. You know, they messed it up because he accidentally rescues the girl and all this kind of stuff, and then they, even if they had working machine, you know, working, what was it, talismans or whatever, they wouldn't have been able to go back until they fixed it, because they legitimately could have changed the outcome of a significant war in European history, as far as the film goes. And then you have the fact that, like, every time one of them kills somebody, it's like, okay, did they just kill off like 17 generations of people that would have been, like, who knows? Because back then, when you had these giant wars, you don't know who lived and died. There's so many people.
We're gonna get into that aspect of here in a little bit too, Lacey. Kevin, what about you? What are you feeling as far as that time travel trope? Getting kind of stuck in time, at least.
That's the best part about time travel movies is when you're stuck and you don't know how or if you're going to get back, or if you're going to get back and there's a time frame on your time travel back to safety, whether or not you can make it to the right portal or you lose your device, the MacGuffin or whatever it is. I liked how they handled the time travel trope in this, especially with the little necklace thingies or whatever it was that showed them, when and where they had to be. I thought that was a really clever device. I like it when you throw a little twist on that trope.
And her comment sort of says it all. The only thing worse than dying here is living here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I want to give a quick shout out to Martin Koskis, Sir William Decker, aka William Decker, the kind of our villain of the film, in a sense where he decided he got there. I can take power, basically creates a noble hood for himself and becomes quite the bad guy in this film. Of course, being basically kind of the opposite version of Gerard Butler's character in this. And I loved how that played out with that as well. But guys, I think here's the ultimate.
Yeah, hold on real quick. That's another time travel trope that I think is cool, is that when there's someone back in time from the future that embraces and uses it to their own power. And I thought that was a cool thing to see in this film.
The thing for me, guys, and I think it's the thing that I loved so much about the book and the film, and this is where they got it right, was, so how did time travel change things? But did time travel change things in this? Because as it turns out, for instance, Merrick is the man they found in the tomb at the beginning of the film. And it was destined to be. This is what was destined to happen. So did time travel really break things, or was it already fated to be? And I think that's a really great thing with this movie. And also in the aspect of, even though Merrick, who stays back, he gets his happy ending. He lives in the world he wanted to live in with the woman he loves. And his friends can even find peace in that, because they know that they spent the rest of their lives together. So everything works out in the end. And like you said, Lacey, well, we don't know if we killed off some of your generations, but it seems like this is kind of was always what happened. And it's just one of those time travel things where everything falls into one perfect piece.
Right. I mean, Kyle Reese, this is the Kyle Reese connection.
Yeah.
Terminator reference.
Sorry. I figure anyone who's watching this podcast is potentially going to be, as nerdy as us, at least.
I just like to shout out Terminator reference. I love it. It's great.
Good. I will say that the grave site did change significantly at the end.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of leeway on some things.
I just want to say, like, his character, knowing what he knows, and then he hooks up with the hot girl, and then he has a statue after him. Come on, that's not bad. I'm just saying, and he could use. I mean, obviously, you could use your knowledge of the future and just technology in general to make your life a little better. And I'm guessing he lived underneath the radar enough to where he didn't pretend to invent all this crap, but enough to where he had a really nice, statue after him. So I think that was kind of cool,
So, guys,
I don't know that I could give up indoor plumbing. I'm sorry.
I'm kind of there with you on
running
indoor
water,
plumbing, modern medicine, that kind of thing. Yeah, no.
Having to drink beer instead of water, and everything being salted because there was no other refrigeration. No.
So we have a quick picture of most of the cast here. Again, great cast, and it's one of the things that I love about this movie. I really like this film. I mean, this is a film that, like I said, the book is always going to be my first choice, but I have no problem watching the film at all.
You know what I liked about this film? So I like how the DVD and in this movie was advertised Braveheart with a 21st century twist right here on the DVD. That's what it says. And one of the things that was good about Braveheart was showing what warfare and tactics were like back then. And what I liked about this movie is it does a similar thing. You get catapults, you get these kind of rocket harpoon things, and how flammable liquid was used in moats and all that kind of stuff, especially with the you know,
Greek fire.
yeah, I love the catapult situation because it reminded me of one of my favorite games, and I think there was an NSE game called Rampart. Do you guys remember this game?
Mhm. Yeah, I
And
think so.
there was a stand-up arcade game too, where it was you against a computer or you and against an opponent, and you would give a certain amount of time to build up your castle and to add your cannons and your whatever, and you try to break down your opponent's castle, and then you would get a certain amount of time to build it up again and until one of you guys was destroyed, and you have to like target ships in the water. But I love it when the castle is sieged on it. And then we get the tease in the beginning of the film with Billy Connolly's character giving the history lesson on that wonderful little miniature mock-up of what the war looked like. And I loved how they brought that to life with the huge castle. And I thought the battle scenes were fantastic. And the set scenes and everything. It's one of those adventures that does take you back, and it feels like you are there with them.
Yeah, no, well said, Kevin.
Just one note.
Mhm.
The difference between a catapult and a trebuchet is that trebuchets can launch like 400 pounds, and a catapult can only launch like 25 to 50. So they were using trebuchets to launch those giant things of Greek fire, which is insane.
That is the first time I've heard of the word trebuchet. To me, it's a catapult.
They said it a bunch of times in the movie. Just
Yeah, I didn't get that. I was just like, oh, that's a catapult.
good.
Yeah, but still, trebuchet. There you go.
Yeah.
You could probably launch a cow, right?
Yeah,
So,
I guess.
so that is timeline, guys. I think it's safe to say the lessons we learned from this are never drop your talisman, first and foremost.
Yes. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
really probably just never go through the time traveling fax machine in the first place.
I like how they chose to use the term fax before like other technology kind of caught up with this, so it does date the movie a little bit that way. But I just still though, we still faxes aren't as sent like they used to, but that's how a lot of documents were sent, was faxes. You had your business card that had your phone number and your fax number on it, So I loved how that was kind of a stamp in time for timeline.
Right, but and even in 2003, they were considered fairly dated. I mean, it was, if you weren't using email at that point, at least for a percentage of the time, you still couldn't do like DocuSign or whatever. So
yeah,
it became, I remember my parents used to have one in the house, and then once email happened, garbage chunk,
Yep.
So
I remember the early fax paper, guys. Jeez.
oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, don't even get me started. So guys, as we wrap things up with our timeline, give me your final thoughts on timeline and its aspect of time and how it handles time travel. Kevin?
Lacey. Oh, you go first, Lacey. Ladies first.
Ladies first.
I enjoyed it. I think that it was a fun, fictional, not too heavy on the science, which was nice for me because I prefer the phi to the psi anyway. My favorite scene would be the conversation where Connolly says, oh, coming from the guy who doesn't like Easter, and he's like, yeah, because you buried the Easter eggs. Like, that to me just gives like immediate, like what his whole childhood was like. And I think that was really fun. So anyway, I enjoyed it. I bought it twice.
It was a fun movie to revisit. I've had this on DVD, but honestly, I haven't watched it in a long time. But I've owned the DVD for a long time, so it was nice to go back and revisit it. I love the scene with Paul and Gerard as father and son in the beginning, and he's trying to show him how important history is, and then the scene in the water when he's with the girl. I love that whole conversation that they have together, and then he finds out who she really is. That was a great scene.
Oh, where I'm saying we're speaking the same language, but you have no idea what I'm saying.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
This is a solid film, a great watch. It would fall definitely in my mind too under our couch potato theater kind of thing.
Kyle, wouldn't you say with regarding those bad reviews that you referred to earlier, I think this movie has reviews have gone up since then with Fandom, wouldn't you say? Because whenever I talk to people about this film, they go, "Yeah, I like that movie. I like that movie."
I think
even
this
though,
is again.
you know,
No, I think this is a case where too as the cast got bigger, and this movie got risen with as the cast became bigger stars too.
that's a good
And
point.
so people revisit this a little bit more fondly than they did when it first came out. Because again, I think the expectations on anything Michael Crichton were so high at the point when Timeline came out that I think it was unfair. Really, it was almost unfair for anything because the Jurassic Park bar was like way up here, and so
Yeah.
I think that kind of affected that. But I think Timeline is a great addition to time travel. I think it's one of the funner time travel tropes that they use in there. I think it's creative, and I like how they handled it. It's a great chapter in the guide of time travel.
I just realized why I didn't see this in the theater. Because I was living in Virginia, working for Decipher, promoting Lord of the Rings, and I believe Return of the King was coming out in November because this movie was released in November, if I remember correctly. And so I'm sure this movie just got buried with the power of the rings, if I'm remembering correctly.
Well, guys, we want to thank all of you for watching and joining us for this episode of Culture Clash Live as we continue our year of time travel here at the Fandom Podcast Network. It always means so much when you guys join us. You can find this show, obviously, if you're already watching it on our YouTube channel, Fandom Podcast Network. If you go join it later, make sure you like, subscribe, and share it out. We appreciate the support. If you're going to listen to this on the audio feed, of course, you can go to fpnet.podbean.com and listen to all of our great shows. And of course, the audio feed will be on any of the major podcast providers out there, whether it's iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon, so many others. It's always so much fun to be doing these things, and especially having you guys be a part of it. And of course, this is the latest episode of Culture Clash, the flagship show of the Fandom Podcast Network. Of course, you can find us on Facebook, Fandom Podcast Network. You can email us at fandompodcastnetwork@gmail.com. You can find us on Instagram at Fandom Podcast Network or on Twitter at FanPod Network. I am Kyle. It's been my pleasure to be your host tonight with these wonderful co-hosts. As always, you can find me on Twitter at AKyleW, on Instagram and Threads at AKyleFandom. Kevin, where can people find you on social media?
You can find me on X and Instagram and Threads at Spartan_Phoenix. I just wanted to give a shout out to the chat. Thank you guys for all watching and commenting. Zalar, Caleb, Chris, Blair, Adam, all you guys, Lurker, thank you so much. Appreciate you guys. And Kenny, of course.
And Lacey, we know you're not huge on the social medias, but we know you're out there a little bit.
I'm just so bad at it. I'm on Facebook because I'm an old fogey, and I haven't. What is it? What do you call it on? You don't say tweet anymore, do you? I don't X.
Just
anymore.
go.
It's on the X.
Yeah, I don't X anymore. I don't do that. I did get a blue sky thing, but I don't know what it means. I'm just. You'll find me here. That's where you find me.
By the way, I have an extra copy of Timeline DVD. I don't know what to do with it. I have an extra one.
Well, do you have it on Blu-ray and DVD, or is it you have two Blu-rays?
I have two DVDs.
Oh,
yeah, that's what I got. I got two DVDs of Timeline. So I don't know, maybe I'll donate it to someone who might want to watch it. We'll see.
Right on. Take it to the library. Donate it to the library.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we're going to get closed out of here. I will say this, when we do get to our next chapter of a spotlight on time travel, we're going to be doing a little time looping. And we're going to be talking about Looper, the classic Bruce Willis.
Say that again, Kyle. Your audio dropped out for me.
I said we're going to be doing Looper, the classic Bruce Willis time travel film. Always an interesting conversation with that film. It's definitely had its ups and downs over the years, but I think it's going to be a great addition to our time travel guide.
And this will be a first watch for me.
Yes.
Which is that's two now I've got on you with this, Lacey.
What was the first one?
Sound of Thunder.
Oh yeah.
Sound of Thunder.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we have hoped you've enjoyed all of our conversation about Timeline. We hope you've enjoyed the episode of Culture Clash, and we hope you enjoy everything else that's coming up on the Fandom Podcast Network. Until next time, guys, stay safe, but most importantly, respect each other, and even more importantly, guys, enjoy your fandom. We are
Bye,
out of
guys.
here.
Thank you so much.